Watching the Highlight Zone with WANE 15 Sports Director Glenn Marini. Local sports coverage you can count on.
It's the Highlight Zone. Yeah, the Highlight Zone. It's the Highlight Zone. Yeah, the Highlight Zone. It's Friday night. We on the Highlight Zone.
It's a major game. I mean, this is one of those ones to win the conference.
We know we're brothers at the end of the day, so we're going to fight, and we're going to win the fight.
There's athletes on both sides of the ball out there, and it's just going to be a great game.
It's going 100% every rep, not taking no plays off.
Everybody in the conference is a very good opponent.
Only people that believe was the people in this camp. We just got to keep knocking teams off just to keep proving that we are a good team.
It's the Highlight Zone. Yeah, the Highlight Zone. It's the Highlight Zone. Yeah, the Highlight Zone.
Oh, yeah, the ring is the thing when it comes to the SAC at this point of the year. Every team wants to win the conference and claim the victory bell at season's end. And with 2 weeks left, 3 teams coming into the night tied atop the SAC standings. Carroll, used to being there, Northrup, a pleasant surprise. Josh A. joining us now with your Highlight Zone Game of the Week. Josh.
All right, Glenn, well, the Chargers, the Bruins, and the Bishop Dwenger Saints all marching into Week 8 with a 4-1 record in conference play. But with a head-to-head win over Dwenger back in Week 6, a Northrup win over Carroll would put the Bruins in the driver's seat for the victory belt. Meanwhile, Carroll win would keep their conference title hopes alive. So, Carroll at Northrup, it's your Highlight Zone Game of the Week. Northrup beating Snyder last week for the first time in 26 years. The Bruins look for their first win against Carroll since 2018. Now, there were a lot of question marks around whether Jaden Van Pelt was going to be available in this game. Tell you what, though, Van Pelt, this guy, he is tough as nails. Van Pelt, an electrifying start for Carroll. That is a 46-yard run off the reverse. Gotta love that from Andy Papagiannis and this Carroll offensive crew. Quentin Bowen, certainly not loving that. He would like this, though. Second quarter, Northrup trailing 14-0. Yeah, that changes in a hurry. Quay showing off the speed right there as he is going to go to Ohio State next year. And Quay cutting the deficit in half, making it a 14-7 Carroll lead. However, Carroll able to rein in control heading into halftime, thanks in large part to plays like this. Eli Newhouser, a rising star on the 2-6-0. That's a pick 6 to make it a 27-7 lead for Carroll heading into halftime. But this Bruins team, they've been a second-half team all season. They outscore Carroll 24-6 in the third quarter, and Levi Porty makes it a 2-point game, 33-31. But the Bruins missing the 2-point conversion, and Carroll is able to take control the rest of the way. How about more from Van Pelt, courtesy of that talented quarterback right there, Gabe Freisinger. 5 catches, 90 yards, and 3 total touchdowns for Van Pelt. And Carroll throws a curveball into the SAC title chase with a 48-37 win.
Game, I mean, without question, they're a good football team, and both teams showed a lot of resolve. No quit, and both teams continue to battle all the way to the end. So, our hats off to Northrup. I'm certain that we're going to probably see them in the playoffs. So, we have to be prepared for everything they have.
Sign me up for round 2. Next up, Carroll's going to close out the regular season with a home game against Lures. Northrup, meanwhile, will host WANE. Glenn, take it away.
Okay, Dwenger in the mix for the victory bell. As we said, they'd need a win over Snyder to keep their conference championship hopes alive. Second quarter, 3-zip Dwenger, but Snyder sophomore QB Max Johnson with the keeper right there. 6-3 Snyder, though, after the blocked PAT over the Panthers. Feeling pretty good. Jason Garrett says, we got some guys on offense, too. A.J. Shefferly doing his best. Cam Scataboo right here as he gets that football into the red zone. And the Saints would take advantage on this drive. Watch this snap. Oh, yeah, eventually hits the turf, but Houston Ellinger picks it up and is into the end zone. It was a 10-6 Dwenger lead at half, and the Saints go on to win 26-6. Dwenger can win the SAC next week with a win against Southside. That would be their first SAC title since 2018. At Walters Stadium, Northside coming in 5-2. Homestead, meanwhile, 4-3. The Spartans doing it with special teams. That's Henry Knipscher with a field goal to get the Sparties on the board, up 3-0. Then in the second quarter, Braylon Wimes around the end. He is in for 6, and the Spartans up 10-0. Spartans driving again. Carter Kennedy trying to get him the ball any way possible. That's a good idea. He's down at the 8. Knipscher would tack on 3 more, and Homestead knocks off Northside 25-0. Former Lures assistant Darion White, now the head coach at Wayne. White leading the Generals in the Lures field, and Wayne was looking good early on. However, this is TJ Epperson of Lures, one of those young running backs you gotta like if you're Kyle Lindsey. He picks up the first down. Lures would get a field goal on the drive to go up 3-zip, but in the second quarter, Javante Eldridge, sophomore, get to know the name. Florida Atlantic's already offered this guy, and he passes the eye test. Javante Eldridge with the sack, and then you'll see Wayne go to the air. Jace White buying some time at QB, finds Tyree Eldridge for the touchdown. Wayne led this one 7-3, but Lures with a big second half as the Knights come back to win it 17-7 over the Generals. Zollner Stadium, Cadets coming off their first win of the year. Could they make it 2 in a row against visiting Southside? Well, first quarter, Southside marching down. Devin Patterson, the quarterback, gets kind of lost in all those big bodies at the goal line, but he's in from 1 yard out, and that makes it a 7-zip Southside lead. Concordia's D bowing its neck. Adriel Milton on the tackle for a loss, but later on the drive, it's Southside again with Patterson again. This was on 4th down. Good call right there by Andre Goodwell as Southside wins it 42-7 over the Cadets. Let's go to the NE8. East Noble clinch at least a share of the conference title with a win over New Haven on Friday night in Kendall, Vegas. First quarter action, Alex Phillips says, yeah, let's take care of business and let's take care of the camera guy. Yeah, he runs into the end zone and runs into our own Shane Boltemeyer. It's 7 points no matter what as East Noble takes an early lead. They weren't done. How about Riley Biddle up the middle? It's a good call for Alex Stewart and company, 13-zip at that point. But New Haven in the second quarter would get on the board. It's our guy, DJ Simpson, lunchbox. He gonna eat. He gets the touchdown to get the Bulldogs on the board. But Austin Phillips, yeah, only a freshman, looks like a senior. He gets a touchdown, and East Noble clinches at least a share of the NE8, 59-21. Leo coming off a 35-28 win over Huntington North last week. The Lions taking on a solid Columbia City squad. This was a bounce-back game for Leo, even though they won last week. It was close. Bo Schwartz with the interception right there, and a big return for the Purple Pride. And Leo is in business. Flip the field now, go to the second quarter. It's Paul Woods with a touchdown. He's the battering ram back there. Gets the touchdown in 23-0. Leo in the lead. Later, you'll see Leo's Reed Setzer recover the fumble here. Leo's defense playing well in this one as Leo wins over Columbia City by a final of 30-7. Moving on, we got Belmont, we got DeKalb. With a win, the Barons would be 6-2 on the season. What a job Ryan Robertson has done in his first year. Belmont, though, with some defense. Corbin Omler with the sack right there, but DeKalb would counter. Connor Schmidt, yeah, gets the ball right here, and the defense not going to be able to corral Mr. Schmidt. It's a 31-yard touchdown run, and DeKalb goes double nickel. The Barons put up 55 and a 55-zip win in Decatur. Moving along to our final stop in the NE8, Kings of the Courtyard, the Norwell Knights, as Norwell hosting Huntington North. This was a second quarter 14-zip Vikings lead when the defense, yeah, starts to take over for Huntington North. That is Kane Landrum with the interception. But, you know, turnabout is fair play, as the saying goes, as later in the second quarter, Norwell's Brady Smith with the interception right near the goal line, saving a touchdown, and ball goes back to Norwell, but Huntington North would take care of business. Their young QB, Lathan James. What a revelation he's been for the Vikings this season. Done a great job taking over that starting job from Tony Decker. It's a touchdown, and Huntington North eventually rolls by a final of 48-7 against the Norwell Knights. Well, that does it for the SAC and for the NE8. But when we come back, we're talking NECC, as West Noble clinching the big division title last week, Busco clinching the small division title in that conference last week. Those two conference champs going toe-to-toe in Turtletown here in Week 8, and it was a good one. Plus, the ACAC title coming down to this. Undefeated Adams Central at unbeaten Bluffton. We're going to head to a prize fight in the Parlor City to see how it all shakes out. That headlines 12 more games to get to next on the Highlight Zone.
More Highlight Zone coming after the break. Seniors, this is your last game promised here at Zollner. We don't know what the draw is going to give us. Make the most of it. Everyone else, play hard for the seniors. Good? Seniors, bring them in.
That was Concordia head coach Tim Manigal, and you can see more behind the scenes with the Cadettes this coming Wednesday in your Highlight Zone 2-minute drill. Now, in the ACAC, the Jets and Tigers seemingly on a collision course all season long. Adams Central 7-0, ranked number 1 in the 2A state poll. Bluffton 7-0, ranked 7th this week in 2A. Now, the last time the Tigers beat the Jets was back in 2009. The winner of this one earning this year's ACAC title. We pick it up in the third quarter. It was 26-9 Adams Central when Jamison Roach hands it to Vance Miller, and it's Miller time, baby, in Monroe. Touchdown for AC, and the Jets now leading 33-9. Now, Bluffton, man, there's no give up in Coach Kunks' team. It's Axton Best finding Cooper Craig. Normally, he's running the ball on the ground, but apparently a threat in the pass game, and that makes it 33-17. But in the fourth quarter, you're going to see Adams Central with some icing on their ACAC championship cake. This is Joey Everett with the touchdown, and AC tops Bluffton again, 47-17.
We play for the season. You know, that's the first thing you start looking forward to at the beginning of every season is your conference. You set that's the big goal at the beginning of the season is your conference, and just being able to come out here and win that, it advances forward in the rest of the season as well.
It's just a stepping stone. We got to keep working every week, come back and work harder for the next team.
It's a major accomplishment that these guys have made throughout the year to be able to do this, to come out and beat a very solid, good Bluffton football team, and then it sets the stage for the postseason, which is what we're really playing for.
Not a nicer guy than Michael Mosier. Love to see them win. Hey, down in Pinedo, Southern Wells looking for its third win of the year. That'd be their most since 2015. Raiders hosting Heritage, and Southern Wells, Blake Blaker's got this team improved this season. That's Trace Slusher. And Southern Wells takes an early 7-zip lead. However, Heritage would score the next 42 points. You're going to see Ethan Weber hook up with Alden Bowers. That is a first down, and Heritage does beat Southern Wells by the final of 42-7. Moving on to some more ACAC action. South Adams looking for its fourth win in the last 5 games. Starfire's on the road at Woodland. First quarter, Will Patterson. He is in, kind of trucking the defender right there at the goal line to make it 7-zip South Adams. Later in the first, you're going to see Zayden Balmer in at quarterback, finding Wesley Somerset. Somerset starting to get some looks from MAC schools, I'm told. And South Adams wins this one 51-14 over Woodland. In the NECC, big division winner West Noble at small division winner Churubusco. First quarter action, it's West Noble who gets on the board first. Trey Schischler finding Xavier Yates, and Yates is in. 7-zip West Noble on the board in Turtletown. But Busco, yeah, they're good on the ground. It's Grant Sievers with an 11-yard touchdown, 2-point conversion good, and Busco takes the lead back 8-7. Second quarter action, more from Busco. On the ground, it's Cameron Lattimore with a 7-yard touchdown run, 2-point conversion good, 16-7 Busco, and Busco goes on to win by a final of 24-23. What a game in Turtle Vegas. Last year's NECC Big Division champ Garrett at Angola. The Hornets looking for their 4th win of the year. Picked this one up in the third quarter with a little defense. Angola's up 7-3. You saw the ball tipped and intercepted by Dallas Davidson of Angola, and the Hornets offense is in business. Ensuing drive, Andrew Moravilius. Moravilius was marvelous with a touchdown to make it 14-3, and Angola would go on to win by a final of 14-11. How about Central Noble at Eastside in Butler? As Eastside looking for its 4th win in a row. The Blazers taking on the Cougars, and we pick it up early in the first quarter. Job Richmond, only a junior, and the book on Job is he can run. Goes down the sideline here, 77 yards on the touchdown scamper to make it 7-zip Eastside just 3 minutes in. Eastside wasn't done. Job Richmond wasn't done. The junior doing it again with his legs here as Eastside no problem with the Cougars. Your final 70-13 in Butler. At Hubert Klein Field, Prairie Heights hosting Fremont. The Eagles coming in looking for their 5th win of the year. First quarter action, Fremont quarterback Jarrett Laughlin looking for Taylor Rodriguez, and he finds him up top for a 46-yard score, and the Eagles on the board first, up 7-0. Later, it's Laughlin, this time with a 25-yard scoring strike in Fremont. This team has improved quite a bit. They win it 45-6 at Prairie Heights. At the Swamp, Lakeland looking for its 3rd win in the last 4 weeks. The Lakers hosting Fairfield, and yeah, we always talk about that Lakeland passing game for a reason. It was tied at 3 in the second when Braden Holbrook hits Levi Cook, who's somewhat underappreciated. He gets the touchdown to make it 11-3 Lakeland after a 2-point conversion. Now 11-6 when Holbrook finds Kian Arroyo for the touchdown, and Lakeland does win this one by a final of 17-6. Big game in the Three Rivers Conference. Mechaniquah undefeated in conference. Manchester 5-1 in league play. Now Manchester led 28-0, but in the third quarter, the tables start to turn. That's Mechaniquah's Marcel Sims with a touchdown to make it 28-6. Then they go to the air, do the Braves. It's quarterback Aiden Robinson to Noah Tarr for a 59-yard touchdown. Now 28-12, and Mechaniquah would come all the way back in this one as Mechaniquah wins by 1, 29-28 in a big TRC tilt. At Southwood, it's the Thomas Tyree Bowl. Tyree, the coach at Southwood last year, he's now the coach at Whitko this year, and we pick it up in the first quarter with some defense. Tip football here, Maddox Marshall is Johnny on the spot. He gets the interception for the Knights, and he goes the other way. 89 yards on the pick six for the first score of the night. Guy in the red sweatshirt got in the way, but it is a touchdown, 7-0 Knights. Later, it's Maddox Marshall at QB to Cooper Drake, and the man in the red sweatshirt would strike again. This would be a touchdown, except it does get called back. However, Southwood does come up with the victory, 30-6 over visiting Whitko. In the NLC, Bart Curtis in year 35 overall as a head coach in the state of Indiana. Warsaw hosting an always good Northwood program. This is Austin King of Northwood with pretty good pickup there in the first quarter, but this drive would end without any points, and that's because of this. Special teams coming up big. Grady Nelson, who's a heck of a baseball player, he recovers the blocked field goal, and the Tigers would take advantage as later in the first quarter, you're going to see Michael Schenk come up with the rushing touchdown for Warsaw as the Tigers go on to win by a final of 28-7. Final stop for football, we got Wawasee at Concord. Warriors trying to upset a Concord team ranked 7th in the 5A state poll, but it would not happen thanks to Bo Brunner. He finds Derek Gomez for the touchdown. That made it 7-zip Concord, and Wawasee would eventually fall 49-21. Stick around, we got your highlight zones. Gem of the night coming up next.
We are the Warsaw Tigers, and stick around for the highlight zone. Yeah!
We're the Southwood Knights, and welcome back to the Highlight Zone. Let's go Southwood!
Here at Peter Franklin Jewelers, we are proud to support local high school athletics. That's why we continue to sponsor the Highlight Zone on WANE TV.
Congratulations to this week's winner of the Gem of the Night, presented by Peter Franklin Jewelers.
We go out to Shields Field for this week's Gem of the Night. At first it was Houston. We have a problem. Then Houston, well, the Eagle has landed in the end zone. Houston Ellinger, are you kidding me? The snap hits his hand, hits the turf, he picks it up and takes it in, and this was a huge play because guess what? The Saints of Bishop Dwenger are in position to win an SAC title for the first time since 2018 if they can get a victory at Southside next week. What a wild year it's been in the SAC. That play completely captures the wildness that we've seen in the SAC so far this season. Next week's games, we've talked about it, it's Southside again battling Dwenger, Lures at Carroll, Wayne at Northrup, Belmont at East Noble, Woodland and Adams Central will have those games and much, much more here on The Zone. We'll see you next Friday night.